The scientific miracles of the Quran. The proportion of rain, and only verse of the Quran, the fecundating characteristic of the winds and the formation of rain as a result are mentioned. And we send the fecundating winds, then cause water to descend from the sky, therewith providing you with water in abundance. Surat Al-Hijr 22. In this verse, it is pointed out that the first stage in the formation of rain is wind. Until the beginning of the 20th century, the only relationship between the wind and the rain that was known was that the wind drove the clouds. However, modern meteorological findings have demonstrated the fecundating role of the wind in the formation of rain. This fecundating function of the wind works in the following way. On the surface of oceans and seas, countless air bubbles form because of the water's foaming action. The moment these bubbles burst, thousands of tiny particles, with a diameter of just 1/100th of a millimeter, are thrown up into the air. These particles, known as aerosols, mix with dust carried from the land by the wind and are carried to the upper layers of the atmosphere. These particles carried to higher altitudes by winds come into contact with water vapor up there. Water vapor condenses around these particles and turns into water droplets. These water droplets first come together and form clouds, and then fall to the earth in the form of rain. As seen, winds fecundate the water vapor floating in the air, with the particles they carry from the sea and eventually help the formation of rain clouds. If winds did not possess this property, water droplets in the upper atmosphere would never form, and there would be no such thing as rain. The most important point here is that this critical role of the wind in the formation of rain was stated centuries ago in a verse of the Quran, at a time when people knew very little about natural phenomena. Another fact given in the Quran about rain is that it is sent down on earth in due measure. This is mentioned in Surat Az-Zukhruf as follows. It is he who sends down water in the due measure from the sky by which we bring a dead land back to life. That is how you too will be raised from the dead. Surat Az-Zukhruf 11. This measured quantity in rain has again been discovered by modern research. It is estimated that in 1 second, approximately 16 million tons of water evaporates from the earth. This figure amounts to 505 trillion tons of water in 1 year. This number is equal to the amount of rain that falls on the earth in a year. This means that water continuously circulates in a balanced cycle in a measure. Life on earth depends on this water cycle. Even if people used all the available technology in the world, they would not be able to reproduce this cycle artificially. Even a minor deviation in this equilibrium would very soon give rise to a major ecological imbalance that would bring about the end of life on Earth. Yet, this never happens, and rain keeps falling every year in exactly the same quantity just as revealed in the Quran. The seas not mingling with one another. One of the properties of seas that has only recently been discovered is related in a verse of the Quran as follows. He has let loose the two seas, converging together, with a barrier between them they do not break through. Surat Ar-Rahman 19:20. This property of the seas, that they come together yet do not mingle with one another at all, has only very recently been discovered by oceanographers. Because of the physical force called surface tension, the waters of neighboring seas do not mix. Caused by the difference in the density of their waters, surface tension prevents them from mingling with one another, just as if a thin wall were between them. Richard A. Davis, Principles of Oceanography, Addison Wesley Publishing Company, Don Mills, Ontario, pp. 92-93. It is interesting that during a period when people had no knowledge of physics, surface tension, or oceanography, this was revealed in the Quran. Coming soon. The sex of the baby.